Welcome to Lesson 7. Before we begin, a quick note about this course. These lessons are designed to be listened to in the background while you work inside DxO PhotoLab on your own computer. Think of them as guided audio lessons that you can follow along with at your own pace. If you prefer more visual, screen-recorded tutorials, you'll find plenty of those on my channel as well. Also, DxO PhotoLab is free to use for 30 days, which gives you more than enough time to work through this course and see if it's a good fit for your workflow. If you decide it is, I'm offering 15% off DxO software, and you'll find that link in the description below. Now, make sure you have DxO PhotoLab open. In this lesson, we're going to look at white balance. White balance is one of the most important tools in photo editing because it controls the overall color of your image. If you've ever taken a photograph that looked too orange, too yellow, too blue, or simply didn't look quite right, white balance is usually the first place to look. The good news is that it's actually very simple once you understand the basics. Before we start adjusting anything, let's make sure we're all looking in the right place. At the top left of DxO PhotoLab, you'll see two main workspaces, Photo Library and Customize. Click on Customize. This is where all of your editing tools live and where we'll spend most of our time throughout the rest of the course. Once you've opened an image, look over to the right-hand side of the screen where you'll see the editing palettes. Towards the top of those palettes, you'll see a series of tabs represented by icons. Look for the tab that contains 3 overlapping circles. This is the color palette. Click on that tab and you'll find the white balance controls, including temperature and tint. These are the two sliders we'll be using throughout this lesson. Let's start with color temperature. Inside DxO PhotoLab, you'll find a temperature slider. Moving the slider to the left makes the image cooler by adding more blue tones. Moving it to the right makes the image warmer by adding more yellow and orange tones. A simple way to think about this is blue equals cooler, orange equals warmer. That's really all you need to remember. For example, if you photographed a sunset, you may want to keep some of that natural warmth in the image. If you photographed snow or a winter scene, you may prefer cooler tones that help communicate the atmosphere of the location. There isn't always a right or wrong answer. Sometimes white balance is about accuracy, and sometimes it's about mood. Next, let's look at tint. The tint slider works slightly differently. Instead of adjusting blue and orange tones, it adjusts green and magenta. If an image has a slight green color cast, move tint towards magenta. If an image has too much magenta, move tint towards green. For most photographs, you'll probably spend more time adjusting temperature than tint, but it's useful to understand both. One of the easiest ways to use white balance is to look for something in the image that should be neutral. For example, a white shirt, a gray wall, white clouds, or something else that should appear natural. Then adjust the temperature and tint sliders until those colors look believable. One mistake beginners often make is chasing perfect color. Remember that photography is creative. A slightly warmer image can feel welcoming and inviting. A slightly cooler image can feel calm, dramatic, or cinematic. The goal isn't always technical perfection. The goal is creating an image feels right. This is also where RAW files become incredibly useful. Because RAW files contain far more color information than JPEG files, you can usually make large white balance adjustments without damaging image quality. That's one of the reasons professional photographers almost always prefer to edit RAW files. A simple workflow might be this. First, adjust exposure until the brightness looks correct. Second, adjust white balance until the colors feel natural. Third, make any additional edits such as contrast, color, or sharpening. Keeping things in that order helps create a cleaner editing process. For this lesson, open a few photographs with different lighting conditions and experiment with the temperature slider. Try moving it much further than you normally would so you can clearly see what it does. Then bring it back to a setting that feels natural. Do the same with tint. The goal isn't to create the perfect image. The goal is understanding how these controls affect color. Once you understand white balance, you'll find that many photographs can be improved with just a few simple adjustments. In the next lesson, we'll look at contrast and learn how to add depth, punch, and separation to your photographs inside DxO PhotoLab. I'll see you in Lesson 8.